Hey guys, welcome back to Java Chat. This is Coffee with Mike, and I get to interview one of my besties today, which is a young woman who I have a ton of respect for, admire greatly, and love talking to because we usually just end up laughing our asses off for most of the time anyway. Mostly at people rather than about people, but yeah, we sit and we talk a lot about some of the joys and the pains of corporate life, the things that we thankfully miss. we have great gratitude for some of these things that we no longer have to deal with.
Some of these things.
Some, yeah, right. And she's gone through a lot of stuff in her own life, both business and personal. When we met, at the time, she was the young, vibrant, single, businesswoman that I met on Periscope, which is now and I'm gonna say it because I said it once and it still is. It's the redheaded stepchild of Twitter. The moment they bought it, take a dive. But she built a 6-figure business there, guys, doing live streaming, and this to me that got my attention in a couple of ways, because for one, everybody knows about the ability to be live online is a great thing. Periscope had actually given her a platform to take it to a different level, because a lot of the people that were on Periscope were, how do you say it? I think it was more of a narcissistic thing than it was a business thing for them. And she looked at it and she's like, oh, no, there's an audience to reach here. And I only know of like 2 or 3 people that did this. This young lady is one. Her name is Diana May. Diana, thanks for being on the podcast and on Java Chat.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I have my coffee. Do you have yours?
Cheers. I don't have my coffee right now.
Well, that's okay.
You know what? I'm still going to cheers to you anyway.
A pot can brew in 5 minutes.
Yes.
And we can always make up another time. When we met, which was, wow, how long have we known each other now? It's been almost
I think 5 years now.
Yeah. Okay.
5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. When we first met, it was kind of me in the background, just kind of watching. And I didn't really get to meet you until after you left from the first time that we
That's
had
correct.
to actually meet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We were both buzzing. Long story short, Dynamite came for a growth hacking conference that was being held by a mutual friend of ours, Frank. She came to Las Vegas, and she was one of the guest speakers. And I had no idea how far she had flown or who she was or anything like that. And then later on, I asked Frank, I said, so who is everybody? And he mentioned Diana, and then all of a sudden I said, okay, so Diana seems to be the one probably to watch. Then you got up and spoke, and I was like, this one's different. She's not just talking about mindset. She's talking about business, and she's talking as if she's been in business. And I went back to Frank later. I don't think Frank told you this, but we had a conversation about just like, so what's her story?
Said, no, I didn't know this.
Yeah, probably because we both forgot about it. Yeah. But the conversation was basically built around, what's her story? What did she do? Where's she from? And he goes, oh no, she was big on Periscope. She did this, and you kind of went down the list. And then when you and I connected in our first conversation, I was like, where did you come from? What did you do? You don't talk like a regular quote unquote entrepreneur. You talk like you got some kind of other stuff. And then it all started coming out that you were on Wall Street and all this other stuff. And I was like, okay, now it makes sense. All right, okay. Yeah. We have things to discuss.
Yes. Tremendous amount of topics nonstop over the last few years.
Yeah, and it's because of the fact that we both come from capital raising investment backgrounds. You from the VC and Wall Street sector, and me from the angel investment side. And it was we had a ton of interesting conversations when
Absolutely.
we had time, because both of us are extremely busy. And we're currently working on a project together. We can't really mention the name on the podcast yet. You will hear about it again, so you'll have to come back so we can talk about it.
Absolutely.
But there's been a life shift for her, and I'm gonna give it to you for a few minutes, kind of give a summary, if you will, which is kind of hard because some of the summary is just absolutely amazing and love it. I love it, how it all
Thank
played out.
you.
Um,
Thank you so much.
yeah, and so give us an idea of who Diana is.
Thank you so much, Mike. Again, I'm always super grateful and appreciative of not only being a part of your show, but being a part of your network and someone who I can really call and consider a good close friend of mine through over the years. Cheers. Here in Serbia, we say živeli. And the reason why, guys, that I'm in Serbia right now is because had it not been for live streaming and me going into the social media space and sharing to my audience, not really knowing if they were my target audience in the first place to begin with, but just talking about a topic that I love. I love the whole aspect of launching businesses and showing businesses how to become investor attractive. And, you know, through my background, like what Mike had shared, of capital raising and being on Wall Street for almost 7 years, and also having a business degree in finance and economics, that's really, really helped me be set apart to all of these entrepreneurs in the online space, because I didn't just take a single course or a program and then, you know, call myself a business coach. I mean, it comes from extensive years of background and over 1,200 clients in my portfolio now, right?
I remember that 3-week course. I remember that one.
Yeah, I remember that one course. And so when I met you, Mike, the interesting thing about that is I was already, I think maybe when Frank had asked me, maybe I was like in my 7th or 8th month live streaming. And so by that,
freaking killing it. You were just,
yeah,
you were just murdering it on Periscope.
It was so crazy. Like the first week of Periscope, you know, I was really confused and didn't necessarily know what it was that I was going to talk about. And I didn't have any content prepared. I just spoke about what I was passionate about. And it was transforming ideas into actual income, and then making that income so inspiring. So to be able to see that cycle and then rinse, repeat it through a number of different markets has just always been my mission. And so when I met you in Vegas, I was already, I think at that point, I had already almost grown my business within 8 months to $500,000 in profit just from live streaming, which is amazing. And shortly after Las Vegas, my audience really grew, and then I moved out to London. And so London, I had a large number of companies and people requesting me to speak at their events. And so I picked up my 2 suitcases and I said, okay, let's go. And then instead of live streaming, and I said, hey guys, if you want to follow me behind the scenes, follow me on Snapchat. Within months, within like less than 3 months, Snapchat had boosted me up. And then I became one of their early influencer adopters before they even had their subscription-based model that you pay for now. And I would be getting 100,000, 150,000 like eyeballs on every snap, just following what it was I was doing on a day-to-day. And you know, that business has then allowed me to come back to what it is that I love, which is capital raising. So I took a step back from capital raising because I wanted to explore the dynamics of social media and PR and how that really came into play, especially now in this stage. Like if a company isn't online at all, it's just complete dead air. You shouldn't even bother going into business at this point, right? And I know that Mike, you know, as a strategist and as a digital consultant as well, you know the very essence of and the importance of being present. And so through my travels and through my audience, because of live streaming, I've been able to have a tremendous amount of clients, especially out here in Europe. And in the middle of my press tour, I was speaking at a conference about cryptocurrency out in Malta. Yeah, do you remember that? Yeah, and so I was out in Malta, and then I ended up meeting my husband in Malta, and then I canceled the last leg of like my press tour because I met him and I was like, you know what? I've been working my butt off over the last few years. I've already designed a business. I have this freedom and this wealth that I've accumulated. And I'm like, now I just want to give like meaning and purpose to everything. And, you know, fast forward, my husband is Serbian, and we just recently celebrated our firstborn child, our daughter's first birthday, Ella. And it's been a whirlwind. So since I met you, from being that single globe trotting you know, business coach in the online space,
Digital
it's funny
nomad.
how yeah. And so now to come here, and I'm back to live streaming, but now there's a lot of normalcy in my life in terms of, you know, having my husband and having my daughter, and then just having the freedom to build a business in the comfort of our home. And now incorporating my husband and my daughter into everything that I'm doing has been really, really, really humbling, and for me, awe-inspiring to come back to this. And I'm glad, Mike, that you are a part of this very exclusive project that we're working on, because it is a big client and there's a number of opportunities that we can do with it on a global scale.
Yeah, it's one of the cool things that I really appreciate about our relationship is when I stopped angel investing some time back because it was a lot of work.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
Me being a single dad didn't make it any easier.
Yeah.
And having my mother living with me. I'm the youngest in my family, so I get to take care of mom too. And
bless you.
We do the best that we can with what we got, right?
Of course.
And it's been, by the way, guys, she's being absolutely modest in that whole thing about meeting her husband. That was one hell of a story. And one of these days we'll have to have her come back and actually tell you how that all went down, because it was really freaking cool.
You did on a live stream, and I was sitting there going, oh my God, I can't believe it. But
because I remember that. Like, I remember that whole story.
I know. The way I met my husband was pretty extraordinary. Yeah.
Well, it's more to the fact of how well you kept him a secret in plain view.
For years, in plain view.
Yeah, like literally, we could see the back of his head, and that's about it. Maybe his hand.
And I think this goes to show one of the reasons why I did that. I just recently started to show my husband and my daughter, and I've been with my husband now for you know, going on to 3.5 years. And it's so funny because I've never shown my husband and I've never shown my daughter until probably like last week. And it goes to show that even though you are on social media and you have a strong presence, and for me, you know, I have few 100,000 followers all over my platforms combined, it goes to show that you don't have to put everything out there.
No,
right?
in fact, it's actually a good idea to not, in some cases, depending on
100%.
what you're doing. Because we both know that there are still those people who are not nice.
I know. Yeah. I still encounter it, you know, like anything that I share online, there's people that throw it back to me, and it's like, that's, you know, that's the pros and cons when you decide to really show and showcase your life. You know, there's a caveat to all of this, right?
Absolutely. And what's one of the, like, even we both know him, Gary V, he still doesn't show his family to this day.
Yeah.
Everything about his business life is plain and simple and open, but his home life, we've never seen his wife, we've never seen his kids. We know he has.
Yes.
But I mean, and it's kind of funny to me. It seems like D-Rock's his wife, but that's different. Because they're everywhere together. I mean, D-Rock never leaves his side. So it's always interesting to watch how anyone can balance that kind of life.
Totally.
And he does it. He admits it's not perfect. It never is. Not on anybody's side. Mine's his, yours, doesn't matter.
Mine, yeah, of course.
But the ability to selectively share.
I love that. Yeah.
The things that would matter to somebody else who's following, who's watching, who's consuming our content, whatever that is. Like even this podcast, I have a fairly narrow set of people that listen to this right now. And I've been doing a lot more content. Like later today, I'm talking with Dr. if I can remember her name, Dr. Kieran. Dr. Kieran Dunstan. She's an MD, medical physician, who is a specialist on the COVID situation.
Oh, wow.
I'm bringing her on to talk about.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear that episode.
Yeah, that one's gonna go. I'll probably release that tomorrow morning, around 6 a.m. It'll be on.
Oh, perfect.
But yeah, she's gonna talk a little bit about that, and how, again, the same thing that we're gonna discuss here in a second, about how it leads through this pandemic. Because we all see what's going on, and there's a lot of things that are being overstepped. At this point, it's getting a little out of hand. But at the same time, we as ourselves, as humankind, we have always had a responsibility to stand up with and for each other. We haven't always taken it. And I think it's even happened in social media in some cases where certain things, like I just watched something come up on another app where there was some accusations of predatory activities going on. To the point of even grooming. And,
oh my God.
And
but I'm not surprised. That's how crazy and
I'm not surprised
misled. Yeah.
And it's to me, the hardest part about it is their alleged accusations until there's absolute proof. Until then, you could just be airing dirty laundry for your own issues.
Right.
So how do we as humankind stand up and say that's not cool without really knowing the full story? You know?
Exactly.
And it becomes difficult on social media. I mean, if we're living near each other, like let's say, God forbid this ever happens, and if it does, I'll fly there and I'll make sure that she's covered. Elena, our good friend, if she was ever in a situation where her relationship was not good for some weird reason, and then she showed up maybe one day with a bruise or something of that nature and got quiet when you decided to start asking her those questions, you're right there. You know something's up. You can see it. You can see it in her face. You can see how she acts, and you can help.
Of course.
Just, yeah. But if she just showed it online, she's also a makeup artist. It's not hard to make bruises with makeup. I've seen it done.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Me too. I have too.
So it's we as humankind, how do we stand up for each other on things like this live project that we're working on? How do we stand up for each other on Snapchat, on other socials?
I love this topic. Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
And it's as leaders, because we are, whether we like it or not. And if you're listening to this and you have a following that's greater than 100, guess what? You're one too.
Absolutely.
Honestly, if you got 10 followers that follow you consistently, you're a leader.
Yeah.
You're basically
and it's not about the quantity. It's about the quality, because I can have 100 people just watching me consistently, but those 100 people that know my story inside and out, those are the 100 people that I have an ability to influence and inspire through my own actions and behavior and message.
So this word will scare you when you know what you just defined. You just defined the occult. If you have,
that is actually true. You're right.
If you have 10 or more faithful followers, it's all it takes. They know you that well. You are a leader of one of those little occults. Now, the word has a bad connotation to it, but
of course,
think about what it could actually mean, though. If it was one of those if it was the pandemic of love, which is what we should be doing, versus the occult.
Yep.
It's the same thing. If you have a group of people that faithfully follow you, you're a leader. You have a responsibility to lead with love, with compassion, and with an intent to create peace. Unfortunately, sometimes things get a little out of hand, and then you have the zealots, but that's another story. We won't talk about them. They're a little special. But so in our time right now, because you're in Serbia, and if you would just kind of give me a situation of where you're at, what are you guys dealing with because of the coronavirus? What do you guys got, and how are you working through it? Because even though you work from home, there's still some things that need to be done outside. How are you getting through all of this?
Yeah, so where we are right now in Serbia, it's unfortunate because it's not considered a main country, and so meaning that mainstream media doesn't cover what's happening in Serbia right now. And I have taken it upon myself because it is my culture. It is where my daughter is born into. And my husband takes great pride in being Serbian. So I've used my platform to explain what is actually happening in this dictatorship that people aren't even aware of. So actually, Mike, starting tomorrow at 1 p.m., the president of Serbia has declared that we would be quarantine for 24 hours in the house now. Before it was 18 hours and now it's 24. So the last few days, and actually in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to have to run out and grab, things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been, I'll say this. I have worked most of my latter years and over the last decade on controlling my emotions and not allowing my emotions to control me. And so while everyone around me is panicking and fearing and projecting all of their stuff, I know how the wealthy, the elite, the powerful, and how government works, because I've been supporting a lot of these, unfortunately, in my career, questionable people that have tremendous amount of power to move markets.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that kind of exposure, I know that everything that's happening around now isn't the coronavirus, but they're piggybacking off of it. And what they're trying to do is instill fear. And no one has the ability to instill fear or panic in you unless you allow them to. So
True.
I don't allow that to penetrate. Why? Because one, I'm the breadwinner of my family. And if I crack, everything in the system does it. So I can't do that because I'm responsible for my husband. I'm responsible for my daughter. More importantly, I'm responsible for myself.
Yep.
Right. And so if any, and the team that I built in this live stream app that has you in it, and I'm also accountable for my clients and my investors. So if I allow anything to penetrate inside of me that is that causes any panic, that causes any stress or fear, it really has a tremendous snowball effect. And it's only me that can prevent that from snowballing and, going to its downfall. So I am doing my best. It's been really great having a community within our new live stream project because it's kept me busy. My days kind of go into one another. And I think when I'm coming from a place of servitude, serving others, supporting people, and just really sharing my passions and talent, that has helped keep me sane, and that has helped keep me motivated and inspired. And also legally, my husband and I have to spend all this time together. So we're finding new ways to reconnect creatively. And I think that's, it's just like anything else, like a business and a marriage, it takes a lot of work and you have to intentionally show up every single day. So, I do my best to balance, like in between. I'm like, great, I have meetings here and I have to do stuff with my family, and not allowing other people's noise really get the best of me. And I also live in a small town in Serbia. So me being Asian, walking outside is not getting the best heat, right? So for me, the best thing for me right now is to stay inside and do what it is that I can to support people that want that reciprocation from me. So keeping positive, and look, at the end of the day, we're always, at any point in time, we're always doing the best that we can with what we have, like you said.
You have touched on about 5 different points that we could run down rabbit holes all day. So yeah,
I know.
You're coming back. I think one of the best.
Of course I am.
Yeah, one of the best things that you've brought up is the ability to manage your own emotions, which sometimes you hear about, and then some people are like, yeah, I manage emotions, blah, blah, blah. Let me explain something, guys. This woman runs about 24, 25, 8, if you want to put it that way. And I've been one that's always liked watching people to look for the signs of cracking. And she doesn't show those signs. She shows other signs, the signs of being able to cope and how to manage.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, yeah, no, I'm watching that. I'd say something if I saw it.
I know.
That's how we are. When you have a lot, and believe me, guys, 24-hour quarantine is basically you're staying home, you're not coming outside,
No.
just deal with it.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice in the matter.
No.
Literally, all freedom is taken away from these people at this point. Hungary just did the same thing. Philippines has.
I know. And Hungary is 20 minutes from us.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, how do you deal? And what Diana's saying is, it's not about deal. It's about move. It's about just keep going. There's nothing that's stopping you if you don't allow it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how she shows up, you guys. She shows up as a leader by saying, that's all right. I know what I got, and I know what I got to deal with. I still have this. I still have this. I still have this. Just because that door can't open for me to go outside for now, doesn't mean I have these other things I got to deal with, and I have other people that depend on me. I'm a leader. So we as leaders, that almost sounded wrong. We as leaders have to step up and out. And when I say that, I don't mean physically outside. We have to step up and out of whatever the circle of the situation is.
100%.
And I've always said this, you know, so this is kind of why friends like us, we're able to every once in a while, we'll sit down before this podcast. We talk for probably about 15 minutes about stuff. And it's because we both have whirlwinds going on in our lives. And it's usually good to have somebody with another set of eyes on the outside looking in the storm going, what about that? Or what's that? Or how's that going? How's that working? And it helps us internally keep tabs on everything that's going on. Because when you're in the middle of a tornado, can you see anything? No, you're usually busy dealing with the freaking tornado.
Exactly. And that's a thing too, right? Like, it's always nice to have someone that you trust and that, you know, has your back regardless of whatever is happening. Speaking of tornadoes, I have one in the other room that's calling my attention. But I just have to reiterate that, one, thank you so much for the kind words and then for acknowledging it. I know that people often have so many things going on in their lives that they don't usually take a moment to reflect and appreciate. But in this time, especially now, if there's anything that I can always practice, it's additional compassion, kindness, and patience. That's all that we have to do, because right now people are going through their own journeys and they're sorting things out the way that they know how to. And it may not necessarily be the most healthy way, but you and I have found creative outlets, and that's what we're doing. We're leading, we're inspiring, we're continuing to facilitate, and we're persevering. You know, Mike, you have been through the ringer, you have succeeded, and you come out 10 times stronger in every single thing that you've done. And, you know, I would not have been able to be where I am in terms of like my success without the help of others such as yourself on this journey. So just to really appreciate the people around you that have your back and have your best interest at heart. That's all that, you know, I can say and share and then end off with.
That's probably the best advice I could. I usually ask that question, but you went ahead and answered it before I asked it, so it's perfect. and she's right, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody that's listening, anybody that's watching, really take note of what she just said. Mentally, people are going through their own epiphanies right now. Some are curling up fetal right now because they've never had to. But there's a huge lot of us that are at home or wherever they're at, going, wow, I didn't realize this, or wow, that's really cool. That's an interesting thought. They're getting to be alone with themselves in some cases. And interestingly enough, some of what you mentioned, which we can go run down that rabbit hole later, I don't think they realize that what they've done is they've given us space to think. They've taken away the busyness. They've allowed us to get back to us.
Exactly. The center of it all.
And that's going to, in some ways, it's going to return in a good way for us. And not necessarily for them. But and we're not talking about starting a revolution, guys. That's not what we're discussing. Maybe a mental and spiritual revolution, that would be wonderful.
Sure.
But the bottom line is that it's about leading with love, compassion, and understanding. And that's exactly what she said. So I know you have to run. This was good. This was packed. I appreciate it, and we'll definitely have you back. How do people find you? How do people find you? Where do they find you?
You can find me everywhere on social media over at Diana May K. You can find me on TikTok, on Snapchat, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and DianaMayK.com everywhere.
Where's the heavy metal music?
Yeah, right?
You'll find her here. You'll find her here.
Everywhere across the board. Mike, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you more than I can ever share or explain, but I will make sure that I do my very best to show you in ways and actions every single day, however way that I can support you, just like you have through these years. So thank you, Mike.
You have, and I'm just thankful that we get to be the best of friends. Do my best to the hubby again and give a big hug and kiss for the little one, and we will say thank you everybody for listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and share this with your friends. If you're listening on Anchor or Spotify for that matter, make sure, because there's about 11 different platforms that this plays on now. Feel free to stop in on your favorite one, drop a comment, drop a like, share it out. And guys, just, be present. Be present, be loving, be compassionate. It matters. People need love right now more than ever. And do not miss the opportunity if you get the chance to lift somebody up. That's it for us. This is Java Chat. I'm Coffee with Mike, and that's Diana May K over there. I finally got the point right. I'm in reverse. I finally did it right. Yesterday I was pointing this way. Like mirror time. We will talk with all of you soon. Take care. Ciao for now.